Jim Rogers is with Tanveer Gill, and they were having a nice conversation. Last time we didn't get the audio line, so I'd like to go and say a big hello and good morning to Tanveer Gill and Jim Rogers from a very packed and energetic studio here in Delhi. And Tanveer, it's over to you because we want to get a sense from Jim on what his expectations of the budget are. Tanveer, in Singapore.
Well, Arnab, he's not expecting a lot. He's sold out of the Indian market and he doesn't want to come back in a hurry. He believes that only if the Indian market went down much further from here that he would be a buyer. But Jim, still, in terms of the line of thought that the finance minister would lay out in the budget speech today, is there anything that could change your mind and, bring you back to investing in India?
Well, if he made dramatic changes, if he made the market open to everybody, freely tradable like the German market or the Australian market, or if he made the currency convertible, I mean, there are things he could do. This is not 1915, this is 2016. India doesn't have to worry about a lot of things anymore, and I hope that they will catch up. But you've got a great central bank governor. Mm-hmm. I hope the rest of the government. What
do you expect from the central bank governor to do next in lieu of what the government does? Because the government is clearly pushing public spending for, enhancing growth. Their focus is to bring about more growth in the economy.
And that's the wrong thing to do. One of India's problems...
Growth is good, Jim.
Growth is good, but not at the expense of debt. Listen, if you give me a billion rupees, I'll show you a very, very good time. But eventually we're going to have a headache and a hangover because somebody's got to pay that debt off, and that's one of the problems with India now. And that's one of the things that worries me a great deal about India.
The central bank has cut rates by about 125 basis points, giving that stimulus to the economy. The government is looking at providing fiscal measures to push growth. And all of that put together, I mean, we're looking at 7.5% growth in the Indian market, which is relatively better to a lot of other emerging markets. Wouldn't that stand to draw more investors to India?
It would if it's real. Yes, I don't trust any.
You don't believe the growth numbers?
I don't trust any government numbers, including my own, including China, including everybody. I know they're usually all made up, and I can tell you that, well, it will take more than government saying we're growing this
What
fast.
do you think is the real growth in India?
I have no idea. You should watch E.T. Now or Times of India. There are plenty of people who can tell you what the real number is. I'm not one of them.
Why are you wanting a fully convertible currency? Because that's been one reason why India has been so much more resilient than other emerging markets.
That's what the government says. You believe too much government propaganda. Yes, if there's a convertible currency, right, people can just buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. But if if the currency is not convertible, it's a huge bureaucratic nightmare to buy and sell any stocks. And who wants it? Okay. You will attract more people if you make your markets open.
Okay, that's the currency market specifically that Jim is talking
about. Tanveer, there are in the studio out here, Tanveer, in the studio, tell Jim. Say first good morning to Jim from a lot of people in the studio, and then you can tell him that a lot of people in the studio are ready to have a go at him. Yeah. And that since he's going to be live with us in some time, a lot of people in the studio will have a go at what he says. Just tell him that, and then I have a follow-up question.
Glad you didn't drink my Coke.
Oh,
I'm leaving it there for you, mate.
All right. So, Jim, Arnab, my co-anchor in the studios, is saying that there are a lot of people who are willing to take a go at you for being so critical of India. What do you have to say to that? Because, in some ways, a lot of the problems that you're highlighting are also problems that other countries are facing.
Yeah, I say again, I'm not picking on India. I can say the same thing about Japan. I don't have investments in Japan. I don't have investments a lot of places because there are many, many problems in the world right now.
Okay.
No, I'm not picking on India at all. But you and I have to be talking about India. You want to talk about Japan?
We don't have a problem with disagreement.
The Japanese won't like what I say.
Tanveer.
Okay.
Tanveer, just tell him. Just tell him that we are broadcasting to a very active democracy. We have absolutely no problems with disagreement. We just would like to get him into a debate about half an hour from now. I think he's supposed to be with us. But before I let Jim go, I want to ask him one question which you can put across to him.
Yes.
You see, if Jim were to bet between three things.
Yes.
One, reforms. If he was the finance minister of India and was told that, Jim, you can focus only on one thing. One, reforms. Two, growth. Three, the domestic market, domestic consumption, domestic spending. Which of the three would he choose and why?
Yeah. All right, Arnab is asking the anchor back in the studio, that if you could choose on one of the three things that India should focus on going forward, reforms, growth, domestic consumption, then what would that be?
Reforms, pure and simple. If they have real reform in India, I will be there in a minute.
Okay, we'll
I'll
talk
be
about what
investing
that
there
is.
in a minute. No, but they're not going
Okay.
to do it. That's the problem.
Okay.
But by the way, I'm not investing in Italy. I'm not investing in Spain. There are a lot of places I'm not investing. I'm not picking on India here. That's what we happen to be talking about.
Okay.
All right, Arnab,
Okay,
that's
great.
a candid Jim for you as always.
Thank you, Tanvir.